Hello.
This is Load Bearing Beams, a podcast about movies and relationships.
Movies and boobies.
I bet we'd get better ratings if it were so.
Not really great pod.
I've heard that
Bod on the pod.
I've heard it said that
Tits go to waste on such a media format. What have you heard?
That we get a better reception when we say this is a comedy podcast over a movie podcast.
I just mean let someone listen to it once because I said that.
Oh, and they listen to it. But when you tell people it's a movie podcast, a lot of people have said, well, who cares about movies? Which is annoying. It's all about TV. We live in the golden age of TV now.
Who are you talking to?
Just people.
All right.
So what is this podcast? Lacey.
Hi.
I'm Matt Stokes.
I'm Lacey Roth.
What's this podcast about? Movies and boobies.
Movies and boobies. A Load Bearing Beam is a movie that you watched as a youth, or it's been a number of years. It was important to you. You enjoyed it. Yet there's a hesitation. You don't necessarily want to bring this movie to prom because maybe it's embarrassing. Also, you want to keep it in your recollection as good, and sometimes watching things as an adult, especially things with someone whose opinion you care about, such as your husband or whoever, if they don't like it, they can just ruin the whole thing. So that's a Load Bearing Beam.
Yep.
If you don't want to mess up that movie.
Since Lacey and I are married to each other, we get to do this to each other regularly. We present a movie that we're not totally sure about, and we watch it together, and we think about it very carefully, and then we discuss it on this podcast. I'm cheating a little bit because my movie today I saw when I was 21. It came out in 2009. But everything that you're saying, that you just said, makes me think like, oh yeah, I picked a good one because I loved this movie when it came out. I had great memories of it. I was not totally confident. No, I saw it in theaters with some people. I'd watched it a couple times on Blu-ray, but it had been 6 years since I'd last seen it. So I was not feeling good about it at all. But we'll get into that. My movie is Knowing from 2009. Lacey, your movie
that's a tricky title. Knowing, hard stop. 'Cause it sounds like you're still mid-talking.
Yes, like what one does when one is presently
aware of knowledge.
I am knowing this.
Watching the movie Knowing is half the battle.
That's right. And in part 2 of our epistemology special, we have
Clueless. Because I thought that was hilarious juxtaposition of titles of movies. You're welcome.
You get it? Because we know.
On the one hand you know, and then on the other hand you do not know.
So?
All right,
we'll get into it.
Please, let's dive in.
After this. Lacey?
What?
Where do you stand on free will?
Like I have a choice.
You in favor of it?
Free will. Well, why don't you define that for me so I can be sure I'm agreeing or not agreeing?
Do we have agency in this universe? Do we have the freedom to do or not do, to make a choice to change what is going to happen?
Predestined? And it doesn't matter what we do. We don't have agency. Is that what you're saying?
Sure. In the macro and the micro, are we more than just a collection of predetermined neurons?
Well, I don't think that makes sense what you just said. But done. Because you can be a collection of neurons and not be predetermined.
But predetermined neurons, that every choice we make has already been determined by a number of factors that are beyond our control.
No, I think we have agency. Yeah, I mean, except for like huge global things that are set in motion by things that have nothing to do with us, like, solar flares.
So, and I don't. So we settled that. I don't think free will exists. She does. Knowing.
Wait,
All right, well, you didn't hear it, but we just paused to have a very intense 25-minute debate about the nature of free will and
what the hell you mean by that, you cheater.
Anyhow.
Trickster.
Knowing came out in 2009. Stars Nicolas Cage and Rose Byrne and a child. And it was directed by Alex Proyas.
Can I just say that the IMDb of the cast of this, you can stop at Rose Byrne if you're looking for other movies to glance through.
Other movies?
Yeah.
Like other
if you want to click on an actor below Rose Byrne and then hope to see some movies, you're not gonna.
Ben Mendelsohn?
I'm just saying that there are the four underneath the top two, like 4 movies between them. They did nothing else
Ben
after
Mendelsohn
this.
is in a
I don't
million
know who
movies.
that is.
He was the villain in Rogue One.
No, I'm asking you who that is in this movie.
Oh, he's Nick Cage's professor friend.
I didn't say anything.
Like, I wasn't convinced by your solar flares, but now it's got to be right.
He's not. I said the 4 under the top 2. He's way the fuck
What?
down. You see him like 5
those
minutes.
credits are listed in a weird order. They're not listed in the same order as the actual
as the ones
billing.
in your brain. My mind.
Go get the DVD box,
Anyway.
and I'll show you.
Oh, fuck you.
All right. What?
You know what? That's not fair. My research does not include the DVD box.
There's we talk a lot about billing, and we're going to talk about it some more. Billing in a movie
Send me an invoice.
is when the actors' names come up on screen on
You're being
in a certain
very
order.
condescending. Can I just say that you're describing?
Listen.
Okay.
There's two different times that it happens. Once when the actors' names appear on screen, and then there's the time where they list the cast, where there's a scroll.
Yeah,
and
and
Nick
that's
Cage,
allowed to be
ellipses,
alphabetical.
and that's allowed to be in different orders. But the actual official order,
So what the fuck's IMDb doing?
that IMDb usually does the cast list rather than the billing order.
Oh,
It's really annoying because when movies will list their cast in order of appearance.
Again, I didn't say, Matt, the billing order, there's a bunch of nobodies.
It's true.
Okay. I started that sentence with, on IMDb, a good day, mate. And I'm using that accent because pretty much everyone's Australian in this movie.
I am so sorry.
It's all right.
So
We might need to pause again.
What's up with this movie? Okay, in
I don't know.
circa,
2000.
the late aughts.
This is a 2009 joint.
That's right. In the late aughts, Nicolas Cage had a run of movies.
Tell me
where
what's
people-
surrounding these movies for Nicolas Cage.
He was. People were on to him at that point. They're like, this guy, he makes some bullshit.
Yeah.
And this was also when it came out that he was in trouble with the IRS.
Had he already
tens
made
of millions of dollars?
City of Angels?
Oh yeah, that was in the 90s.
Oh God.
So he was a huge movie star in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, and he made $20 million a movie, and then he started buying like tons of real estate,
Including in New Orleans.
I'll just go ahead and read because
Can you?
this is a list of Nicolas Cage's real estate holdings pre-2009.
Wait. First, tell me why? Because he was in financial trouble, he bought stuff?
No. He got into financial trouble for
buying
so
stuff?
much stuff
Oh,
that he
okay.
couldn't
Oh,
afford.
wait. Okay.
And
tell me the year of the trouble.
2009 is when it really hit the fan.
Okay, 2009
now what happened
is when he makes this movie.
Yeah. But what happened 1 year before 2009?
The financial,
Yeah.
I mean the crash of the,
real estate market.
yes.
And he owned a house in Malibu, a home in Bel Air, the La Laurie Mansion in New Orleans, the most
Yes.
haunted house in New
Which
Orleans.
has been purchased by another now.
A mansion in Las Vegas, 4 yachts, an island in the Bahamas,
4 yachts!
a castle in England, another castle in Germany, a dinosaur skull. So he
Can you live
had
in the
not
dinosaur
been-
skull?
No, you can't even live in
Can
it.
Pee Wee Herman live in the dinosaur
And
skull?
apparently, it was.
Can Large Marge send ya?
It turned out that the skull had been stolen from a museum in Mongolia, and he had to return it.
Like, you
Like the
know
plot
what
of a
cargo would cost shipping that? So you didn't have to ride it back? How do you put a
Hope you
sail
got the insurance
on
on it.
I'm just
There's-
saying, that's a large
yeah.
shipping item.
So he hadn't been paying taxes. He'd been living extravagantly,
Inside
living
of
like
dinosaur
a
skulls.
like CEO of a bank rather than a movie star. It's the same thing that got Johnny Depp in trouble. And then financial managers who he sued and then who sued him back. And anyway, he wasn't paying taxes. He owed the IRS tons of money. He took huge loss on all his property. So he started making all kinds of movies. But it wasn't like today where look at his IMDb today. He makes like 6 movies a year. None of them are
Whoa.
released theatrically. They're all straight to video on demand. But at least so back 2006 to 2010, he had a couple of theatrical movies every year, and so there was a run that was so there was Ghost Rider, Next, National Treasure: Book of Secrets, which was a hit, Bangkok Dangerous, Knowing, G-Force.
Why say the one we're watching like that? Knowing, as if we've ever heard of it.
And I remember
G-Force.
that this movie, Knowing, got lumped into that pile of shit that people would use to say, like, what the hell is wrong with Nicolas Cage? Why is he making all these terrible movies,
Everybody
terrible
loves a
choices?
good spree, good or bad.
Right.
Yeah, so it's in the middle of the spree.
I saw this movie in theaters. I didn't have any expectations for it. It's about the end of the world, and it's about like free will versus determinism, and it's got like crazy sci-fi plot. It's got horror elements.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought the reviews were all terrible. This movie has a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. People are wrong. This is not a terrible movie. What did you think?
It is confusing. Not the movie. I totally get the movie. It's confusing why it's good. It's got so much going against it, and it's trying to do so many things, but I don't know if it's chemistry or style on behalf of the editing or director, but there is something extremely watchable about every part of it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't lose me for a second, and I don't know that it earns it at the end. I have high hopes the whole time that all these weird little things are going to tie together. I think the ending is probably my least favorite part of it.
So let's talk about what the movie is about.
Can we talk about the director?
Sure.
Go.
Alex Proyas directed The Crow in 1994. I've still never seen that movie, but he made Dark City in 1998, which is one of my favorite movies ever, and I considered doing that for this podcast, but I don't think there's a chance you wouldn't like it. It's just really good.
Okay.
He made
But you said that's not the
iRobot,
point.
which is an okay movie, and then he did this one, and then recently he did Gods of Egypt, which I kind of want to see now that I know that it's him. But anyway, what did you want to say about?
Oh, I don't know. I thought there'd be something more interesting to talk about with that.
Okay.
Just The Crow. Just the person who did The Crow is just interesting to me. It's a staple in my youth.
Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah, I should see it.
Give it a look.
This movie opens in 1959, and there is an elementary school that is doing a dedication ceremony because they've just opened their school, and what they're going to do to commemorate the occasion is they're
Sure.
Yes.
You sure they just opened their school?
Yes, it's their grand opening.
They have grand openings for school.
Sure. A
Sure they just
dedication, I promise you.
Fine, whatever. Wait, but I had a point.
Why were they in class if they were doing a grand opening of the school?
Yeah.
Because it's a grand opening. It's not the opening. The grand opening
they already
takes
had the
place
soft
after.
opening?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. All right, fine. They all seem to know each other very well.
This class has an assignment. They're supposed to write down what they think the future will look like, and then they bury it in a
series of
time capsule.
numbers.
And this girl that we focus in on, Lucinda, she just writes down tons of numbers. And I fucking love in movies or whatever when somebody's just furiously scribbling down numbers, and when it's a creepy kid and the adult's like, whoa. It's still a terrible fear of mine that
That you're going to become a creepy adult.
we're going to see
staring at
Macy or Sully doing
yes.
this one day.
and then crawling backwards, like arched and up the
or
stairs.
all of the drawers and cabinets will be open.
Oh!
What?
Oh, I hate that!
What is it, Papa?
Oh! Or a chair on top of the table.
Right.
Just with that.
Or the TV on. All right. 50 years later, Nicolas Cage and his son, who attends
Baby
the school,
Cage.
they are they're enjoying the ceremony of the school
Of the
removing the
opening
time
of-
capsule
right.
to see what's in it. And each kid in the class gets a letter, gets to keep an envelope from inside the time capsule, and Cage's kid happens to get the letter from the girl who had all the numbers written down.
The creepy kid. The creepy girl who has a balloon. Mm-hmm. And then she
God,
goes
balloons.
missing for a second.
Fucking balloons.
Well, and she was standing by herself. No one who also enjoys a balloon also enjoys standing there alone with it by yourself.
I think only people who enjoy standing by themselves enjoy holding balloons.
I don't know how to disagree with that.
Yeah. I mean,
All right,
think
whatever.
have you seen,
I also don't know how to agree with that, so pipe down.
Nicolas Cage is like, what's up with these numbers? I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many.
And then he like falls down or something drunk late at night, and then like the line splashes on a series of numbers. He's like, what? Huh? 91101 2998. What does that sound familiar? And then he gets a dry erase board and writes and puts some slashes in. It's like
Carrie Matheson.
9/11/2001 2,998 people died. Oh my god.
That's a lot of people. How did I miss that on the news?
Then he starts,
That's not what he-
going through these series of numbers and realizing that each number corresponds with a date.
Can I
and
just say-
number of casualties in a tragedy. Go ahead.
Casualties. Tragedies. Casual. There's got to be a way to combine those words.
Go ahead.
All right, I will. Just like to say, okay, so my early notes about this movie, because they show him just casually parenting with a glass of wine, and it doesn't seem like it's a thing, but why the frick every time in a movie, in a solemn movie like this, drinking is never just innocent. It has to become the downfall.
You're totally right. Yeah, no, it's just a signal. It's like smoking. Nobody's ever just a smoker. Just
It's
like, you know what, in real life they have people who smoke, and they're not like evil people.
They did 3 casual, true to life things in a row that all ended up being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they played them off so like, this is just how this family is. Normal. Number 1, he's drinking wine while parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
DWP.
Right. Number 2, the kid is a smartass, and he doesn't get in trouble for it. He's just a funny kid, so he just gets to
Also,
sass a bit.
life is like that.
That's what I'm fucking saying.
Yeah, that's why I said also life is like
But
that.
I've already said
I'm not
that.
contradicting you. I'm adding to what you said.
I don't. You're not adding because I've already said it. Now you're just piling. All right, number 3.
Emphasizing.
Oh, I'm not used to this kind of treatment from you. Okay, number 3.
You guess, please.
The kid falls asleep with the TV on. That never happens if it's not going to be like some creepy. The TV went off on its own.
Yeah, but
The TV came on its own.
I know what you mean, but he was watching home
the
video footage of his mom.
Yes, and
like, I love you, and his mom's dead.
God, just say it like that.
Sorry, dead fictional mom.
Or anyone who. All right. But anyway, but I don't know that when I wrote the note because I wrote the note real fast.
But you're right. It would be nice
It's
if just kids were asleep and TVs were on and it was like
Or that they
frozen.
fall asleep in their room to a TV.
Yeah.
That does happen.
Uh-huh.
Not in our house.
Never.
Only in our room. No, it really doesn't happen in our house.
It happens in the living room.
That's not the fucking same.
The kid
Shut
falls
up.
asleep in the living room with the TV on.
It's awesome when that
Listen,
happens.
I'm just.
That's called a bonus.
I'm tickled pink. I'm pleased as punch when our kid watches TV instead of watching YouTube on a phone. It's like
this is not interesting.
so much more. I feel like a better parent when that happens.
Oh, right. Like good old wholesome,
TV.
non-interrupted by commercial
Yeah,
TV.
and if it's like narrative, yeah. If it's like a 30-minute episode of
right.
a TV show, great.
Right.
A movie, holy shit.
Now that's teaching
Is it
your
Christmas?
kid focus. Let me show you how to pay attention. Here's a 2-hour film.
So where were we?
Doesn't
you know,
matter.
the numbers tell him when tragedies happen. So it's an accurate prophecy. He's received an accurate prophecy, and he's like going around trying to tell people, and nobody believes him. But and
Good thing he's a scientist.
he catches up to the present, and he sees there's something coming up. Oh my God, 99 people are gonna die. Where could it be? What's gonna happen? And then he's driving on the freeway, and a fucking plane falls out of the sky. And
someone, after it crashes, someone just runs from it. Like,
On
that
fire.
plane fell out of the sky. The stewardess is like, don't go in there. Like,
and Nick Cage like tries to do CPR and stuff to burning
he goes
plane
in the
crash
hole
victims.
of the burning plane for a second, pulls out the captain, and just like rolls him around in a mud puddle.
I think. Do you think Nicolas Cage thought he was acting, or he just was on the set and thought a plane had actually crashed, and decided I need to start?
Right. I know what to
lean
do
on my
here.
training. Yeah,
I've been doing weeks
I was
of
in
training
World
on
Trade
this
Center.
very thing.
So What else? Meanwhile, some creepy stuff is happening. Some blonde-haired men
Which
who
I
don't
have a
speak
note
are following around his
says
kid.
that later on that same set, they are set to start filming the first Twilight. And those men are just waiting. Those are vampire-looking...
The vampire craze was a boon to these guys' careers.
I know, I'm literally... Nick and the other guys moved out after they said cut. And those guys just, moved right into their set piece. Because they don't look like a part of this movie. They are fucking random.
But that's the point.
I guess I find that element distracting. I could do with all of it, and I don't need those guys. They don't add.
What else happens? He's trying to get to the bottom of this prophecy. So he's trying to find the girl from 1959. She's dead. So he meets up with her daughter.
So he'll take her daughter
and granddaughter.
Your mom's dead. Wanna fuck?
That's what he says.
It's rude, and he does it.
But it works.
It works.
And it's beautiful, and they make love to each other.
No, they
don't.
I don't know. I don't remember. Wait, can we
No,
just say...
they don't. That's nice.
Yeah, they don't. Well, they died first.
Oh, he's using iGoogle. Remember that?
No. She died real fast in this movie. That's the thing about this movie. It does pay off in that it kills fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Literally the entire world dies.
Well,
I like that.
Pin in that.
Okay.
We're watching the movie right now, and we're at the scene where he's feverishly scribbling on a dry erase board and figuring it all out. Love whenever that happens in any movie.
And I like that he's drinking the whole time, because if you were up that late doing something crazy, batshit crazy, you better be drinking.
Exactly. He's apparently just learning about all these things. The Oklahoma City bombing. What was that?
That sounds bad.
213 people die in office building. No.
Someone should call the infrastructure.
Yeah, this movie looks awesome visually.
It does.
It's
well done.
Beautiful. There's the whole time there's sunlight creeping in to these what seem like they should be sort of dreary interiors, and it's kind of weird and surreal, but it feels like when you
summer. First open your eyes after you wake up and it's blurry, but
maybe, or just when it's a really, really sunny day and you're in your living room and you just can't get the glare off your TV screen because it's so bright outside.
That's what I'm saying. And you find fuzzy, but you kind of feel hungover or drunk with him.
Yeah. But the movie takes place in autumn, and it doesn't reveal itself till the end that this is actually, you're not crazy. This has been happening the whole time, that this movie takes place in October and everybody's complaining about how hot it is. And it's super sunny the whole time.
Oh.
What happens, spoiler alert, is the prophecy basically says everyone's going to die on this date. And that is because a massive solar flare shoots out of the sun and destroys the whole world.
Apparently did some sort of YouTube video about just this such thing only a month before. Remember that paper I said about the thing? It's happening.
That was
stupid.
That was the most half-assed part of the movie.
I mean,
and his scientist friend is just oh yeah, you're oh my god.
I'm yeah, I thought that paper was really weird before.
Until it got really bright outside.
And now it's autumn in July or whatever you just said. Yeah. I mean, they don't make any mention of him being any kind of particular scientist the whole time. Just that he talks about.
No,
I guess he's an astronomer.
A physicist.
Okay, but he's talking about planets when you first come in on the movie, and then he just doesn't talk about it anymore. He just looks at the sky a lot. He likes to look through his telescope and stuff. They don't and then all of a sudden he's a solar flareist. I don't know.
The physicists do that, I think.
You talk out of your ass.
It sounds right.
Whatever. Astronomer couldn't?
I don't think he's an astronomer.
Well, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Does it? Okay.
Go on.
He's an astronomer.
It's just, it barely comes up, except for it opens in a classroom scene, and then
it's fine. And he has a discussion with his class. Is there free will, or is there determinism? Are we responsible for our actions?
Are you responsible for saying that again? Repeating yourself?
No, because everything that happens is the result of a million different things that have already happened that aren't in my control. I didn't make the choice to say all
Pickles!
Of this. So random.
Yeah.
So
free will, bitch.
These blonde-haired men who keep appearing creepily want basically to take Nick Cage's son and the granddaughter of Lucinda, who again Nicolas Cage made sweet love to her mom,
No,
so
he
now
did
they're all
not.
together the whole time. They want to take these two kids basically off to another planet, and that's exactly what happens.
They are the news cycle Adam and Eve is what you find out at the
They're
end.
angels, basically.
No, they are not angels.
No, the
Those
blonde-haired
blonde
people,
men,
yeah.
they're archangels.
They're angels.
Or, yeah.
Maybe. So what do you...
Or aliens or whatever.
Okay, well, let's take a step back.
Can we?
I was nervous to show you this movie because I remember the last time I watched it. It was May 21st, 2011.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Do you remember? That was when the Harold Camping prophecy said the world was going to end. Or the rapture. I don't remember. The rapture, I think.
What were the odds I was going to fucking know that? I don't even know our wedding anniversary, and you're going to, which is close to what you just said.
May 21st, 2011 was probably the most recent high profile wait
then
for the
nothing
rapture to
happened
come.
thing.
And yeah, and so I've always had this I love the apocalypse. I love the rapture. I was, so I watched a bunch of movies about the apocalypse that day, and I watched this movie. Hadn't since then.
Mm-hmm.
I was nervous. I thought I was stupid back then. Surely everybody can't be wrong.
Right. What are the... Yeah, how often does that happen? That a movie's so poorly rated and then...
I go along with critical consensus generally. I'm not
you too.
a contrarian. But...
You're not a contrarian with critics. Everyone else, yes.
No, I'm not.
Funny.
It's not a great movie.
But
everything that
shouldn't work.
I enjoyed about it still is there. Like, this is a really well-made thriller. It's a B movie
On an A budget.
On an A budget, but it's basically like a fun Independence Day type thriller.
Every scene is interesting. That's all I can say. There was never a point where I was like, what is the point of this? Why are we still looking at this? And it could change it. It's a million different things. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how well it all holds together.
No.
I'm not crazy about the biblical prophecies and the idea that actually these are literally angels that God has sent down to collect his children.
I don't care about that.
What do you think of the way this movie ends? And basically what this was all leading toward.
That is probably the most disappointing part. It feels almost too easy. It had a lot of cool, weird things, and it ends up being one of 3 stories you could predict being the way an apocalypse happens is a starting over. So the little boy and girl are Adam and Eve. What? I don't. That's boring. And they have a bunny. Why? I don't know. And they take the fucking bunny. Also, don't know why. I don't know. That bored me. I like better the idea that that you can kind of choose, or maybe it doesn't matter, but these could be angels that came and got these two to populate a new planet, or they could be aliens that are bringing the last 2 best specimens from our planet before this planet is extinct to bring to theirs. I like that it doesn't sew it all up. You're not totally sure, but
or maybe God's an alien.
Right. That's also interesting.
And it's all supposed to follow the book of Ezekiel, and they literally say that in the movie. And
can we just say though? Usually we watch this movie like 1, 2, at the most 3 days away from doing this podcast. This one, because of life, we watched like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
That's an eternity.
It was actually like 10 days ago, but it was just like, that was a million
it might
fucking
as
years
well.
ago. I know.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. It just isn't fresh in my head like I would like it to be.
But it follows the prophecy of Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel, and there was a famous prophecy in the Bible about seeing basically like the destruction of Jerusalem and the rebuilding of the temple and God coming down. So I like the idea that, like, what if Ezekiel really existed and really was a prophet? And he saw the future, and what he saw were aliens, like real aliens, and was like, oh, they were angels.
Right, because what would be the difference?
Yeah, there would be no difference.
Right, and they would have like an aura about them. They would seem not of this world, and he would be right.
So that's what
I do like the Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
I will say that kind of crap TV is always interesting to me.
Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, where look at these hieroglyphics, and see how this is a spaceship with a pointy-headed man tilting. Anyway,
what else could it be? The and then the final scene is fucking the world ends, and it does not skimp on the details. It shows you every the solar flare covering everything.
Don't worry, that bunny lived,
and it looks awesome. This movie was filmed in Australia, which I didn't realize until we watched the special features. I kept thinking like this this is Boston. It looks beautiful. It's
that should have been your first.
Has a great sense of place, but no, it's not Boston. It's Melbourne.
Yeah, but they brought in Boston parts. Is what they said. I don't know, but I like how the director is just like, Australia's a great place to film, and I live here. Win, you lazy fuck.
Win.
Okie dokie.
So that's it.
You've sold me.
I'm glad that you.
I see why it's good. Yeah.
It's not great. It's not a load-bearing beat for me now that I think about it.
If you were to write it down on paper, it'd be like, okay, no, this is
letters or
awful. Numbers? Thank you. But for whatever reason, it is a compelling movie while actually watching it.
Fun.
So I compel all of you to just give it a look and see if you agree, and please comment below. Just kidding. There's no below because I'm not a YouTube person, but comment on the book of our faces.
Let's well, now we know, and now let's not know.
Oh,
let's not have.
Let's get
a clue.
Clueless as if
3, 4. Everybody, love Mary Keens, love Mary.